Well, hello everyone. It's John Leonard here. I'm up in Ottawa today, and it's Wednesday, February the 16th. I've been walking around for the last few hours and meeting people in the Freedom Convoy. People who have come from every province in our country and every territory. And I've met Francophone Canadians and Anglophone Canadians. I've met First Nations Canadians, and I've also met many Canadians that are people who are Canadian citizens that were not born here, but have every right to protest, and they're here protesting for freedom. And you can look online and see it all, right? So I'm just find it, and you'll see every street. A lot of streets are totally filled with peaceful protesters. That basically the vast majority of people here, the vast majority, want two things. One, a stop to the mandates. And number two, not to have a federal or provincial digital passes. And I joined with them. I don't want that either. You must remember that Canada is supposed to protect the smallest minority, and the smallest minority in Canada is every individual one of us. All of us, individually. You have rights. You have rights to say no to something you don't want done to you. And I don't think that's unreasonable. So understand that with the Prime Minister invoking the Emergency Act, there's no emergency here. I see people dancing in the streets, shaking hands, giving hugs. I see bouncy castles. Bouncy castles? Really? Like bouncy castles and people exercising their right? Now, the government doesn't give us this right to protest. It only can take it away. So let's remember that. You have the right for peaceful protest, and this is a peaceful protest. Make no mistake. And I don't think that I don't believe that the police or the RCMP or the Army, I hope, but I've been talking to people in all three situations, the RCMP, people I know, the police that I know, and some Army people. And they don't want to use violence. The people here are not using violence. Canadians coming on their own dime and their own time from places like Fort St. John and Moncton, New Brunswick. And I'm finding people from, who are basically been here for 20 years as a new Canadian, or a newish Canadian, if you will, from an Eastern European communist country. And they are adamant that we're going down the wrong path. I met a fellow from Bosnia. I met a fellow earlier from Poland, and I met a lady from Belarus, and they believe down to their core that what our Prime Minister is doing with this Emergency Act, when there is no emergency, nobody's trying to overthrow our system of government. We don't want that. They don't want that. What we want is we want our rights. We don't want the government to take what our rights as human beings are. And our rights as a human being is to be unmolested by government. And and that's the situation. So understand that these people here, and if there's this many here There's 10, 15, 20 times more on bridges and who can't come. People are here, and one of the spouses are here, but the other spouse is at home because they can't leave their children, right? Like, think about that. I met people here that have been here since day one that left their family behind with another spouse, with their spouse, so they could actually partake in this because they feel so strongly from it. You know, I met a guy from Calgary. It's like he drove all the way from Calgary by himself, right? I met people here from every province and territory. This is asinine, having to do this in a country that is supposed to stand for freedom. This is what Canada's supposed to be, for crying out loud. This is unconscionable that we're allowing this to happen. This is listen, the Conservative Party took, the MPs in the Conservative Party voted against their leader. Okay, and that's justifiably they are allowed to do that. What I don't understand is how that there are people still in the Conservative Party, and also, hopefully less, but in the other parties, that are okay with this kind of mandate that the government's doing. Like, they should be standing up against their leader and their party whip and saying, listen, you're going too far. This is too far. Okay, you can't do this in a just society. A just society cannot have this kind of Orwellian oversight and harm from its elected government. We don't want to. We're not here in a violent way, but this is. I don't understand how the government, how our prime minister, can be so aggressive to its citizens. Well, with that, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to meet a lot more Canadians from all over this country. All over. And if you haven't been, and you can make it, and I understand if you can't, I understand that. But if you can, figure out a way to get here. Because your country, your children, and your grandchildren that you might not even have yet want a free country. It's my Canada too, and I want freedom. And so does everybody else here. Bye for now.